What is going on? Happy Wednesday. We are live. It is the 1st of May. We have a little Powell pump. Maybe we got a little something going on here today. And we're going to be bringing it home for the last hour or so, last 50 minutes or so of the trading day. And we're going to see what charts maybe look enticing. So let us get going. And so far, me and Powell, I believe, is still speaking. He's probably going to wrap up in about a few minutes or so, if he has not done so already, which we can go through. Well, no, he technically is still speaking as I speak, I think. And, he's doing his thing. But the Fed came out, kind of the same gist. I can run through some of the PRs that dropped. But at 2 p.m., we came in and we have some little something. But they essentially did not move rates. They did what exactly we were expecting them to do. And that's the deal. They are going to slow the pace of the balance sheet runoff starting in June. And there's been a lack of further progress towards their goal in recent months, which, again, we all know. So, outside of that, the market's going up, and traders now forecast Fed rate cut most likely in November. Look at that, guys. Remember we were talking about, maybe in March or May or the June meeting, and now we're talking November. We can easily be talking about next year the way this is going. But it doesn't matter. Who cares? It is what it is. I guess we care, to a degree, but the market moves, and the market, that's it. All I really care about is price action, so let's cover the price action. I'm going to jump to daily charts because that's what's more interesting to me, and we'll kind of go from there. So the S&P bouncing right now, but it's not taking out the highs from Monday, which we'd have to push another $3 or $4 on SPY to do so. QQQ, kind of a similar story. Dow, DIA, similar story. Russell, a little stronger on the Russ. Good old Russ. Now, this honestly does look enticing as well, because I was talking about, or I did take a trade on this on the Russell. Is a second time the charm? I don't know if it's really a good idea to do so going into tomorrow. However, I would not be surprised if it does. I'm not going to trade it, but I think that this is probably a potentially, if we close above, 199.50 or so on IWM, I think we're pushing up into the 200s in the coming sessions. We'll see, though. Could be totally wrong. I'm not going to trade it because it's not really fitting my setup anymore. Although, right, you've got some higher lows, looking good. Just a little bit of wonkiness here, but could be something to be watching going forward because it is kind of strong. I mean, relatively speaking, it's almost back to the highs of the week, which we're not that close on. We're close on SPY, but we're not that close. So we'll see. What's going on, Millen? We're going to be diving into a bunch of charts, I think. Oh, shit, XBI. What? That's a day and a half. Holy shit. Wow. That's a big move. And this is an ETF, by the way. We're not talking about an individual stock here. We're talking about an ETF, which covers a lot of stuff. Biotechs right now, I don't know what's going on. Is there a story there? I don't know. I don't see anything specifically. But that's a massive move. That's a massive move on biotechs today. Let's jump through and check what else is up. KRE, the regional banking ETF, up a lot. That's killing it. You have real estate doing well because I guess the 10 years down. XLU is crushing. That's a new high of the year, not all-time high. And now we'll get into some individual stocks in a second, but let me check the 10-year. Yeah, 10-year down 1.5%. So maybe you got the little bit of the workings of potentially, little head and shoulders going on, and need to break down underneath here, roughly 4.57. The grand scheme, though, I still look at the 10-year and I say it does look really strong. However, though, right, completely changes my mind. If we start to break down here in a big way, put some lower highs in, and then start to test these lows, then I would be the problem is that that's just so far away. We have to get a big ass move on the 10-year for that to happen, for me to be like really kind of, okay, yeah, we're probably now going to pull back on the 10-year for a bit. So I don't know, but either way, big interesting setup right now because we may be rolling over a bit there, but at the same time, it's been very, very strong. So how do you, discount the bigger picture? But we could be setting up maybe for some lower highs, but that, again, going to take some time to develop. The dollar, that's a false break. The dollar, or tried to push out, and now it's failing. But still, higher lows, so you can't really discount that just yet. Elsewhere, let's see. After Fed, all risky stocks. Yeah, it seems like risk on's doing well. ARK's up 3.36. It's a big move there. You look at the risk, my risk on watch list is crushing. Remember Snapchat we talked about? I did on the day that we were talking about this, which was yesterday, I believe, on the live stream at the morning. It was my first options trade in a long ass time. And I went super, super small in my Robinhood account, which it did work. The trade has worked very, very well. The options, I don't know what they're up. They're probably up. I sold 2 out of my 3, and they're up 58%. But I bought like a month or 2 out, so they're not like this week's, But kind of, I guess, a little bit of a nice way back in the game for getting into options. But either way, I don't really care that much about that. I'm just going to sell the last one right now and get out of that. Put the order in. So that's done very, very well. We're talking about this trade as an idea, on the breakout after earnings, gapped up, flagged, broke the flag yesterday, held the breakout, and then pushed today. Very nice, very strong move. Just great looking trade on that. And I just, like I was saying, like yesterday and stuff, like it's just a little. The shorts have just been, they just haven't been feeling right. The moves have been iffy at best. And if I go to my red list, these are all the stocks that I was eyeing for potential shorts. Netflix off the bottom, bounce. BlackRock hasn't broken down yet. IBM did, but is it getting there's no momentum on the breakdown, right? It's up today now, right? CRM broke the level today, but guess what? Now it's going to close above. So that would not be a short that I would want to take. And then Shopify, same thing, was looking like it could be a short. Now it bounced back up. All of these stocks I don't think are going to be good shorts. The long that I have is Home Depot, but this is an inverse. Well, it's a failed breakdown long. I like it. Just needs to hold kind of today's low, really, and then we're chilling. But it was a tight risk, and I'm looking for 350. So we'll see if we get that before their earnings, which is in about 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks now. And if not, then I'm going to clear out of the trade before the earnings. So we'll be watching, and we'll see what happens on that. But that's really it. So it's kind of a, in terms of that. Now we can pull up other charts, and I want to look at those now because I think that's going to be, more interesting. Although, right, one day, Fed, you can't get too excited because everything can change. Apple earnings are tomorrow, although we only have one big name left. Realistically, Apple, like the really big names. So how much can Apple really move us after we've already gotten some pretty big names? I don't know. Could move us, but wouldn't be surprised if it isn't that big of a deal. AMD, massive doji after their earnings. That's an avoid for me for a while. Amazon's up 5% today. Now they had earnings yesterday. Positive reaction. Now we're pushing back. Amazon didn't have a big move, though. So if you played options on that, not a big move, and needs to get a big continuation into the end of the week if you had played that in some regard, because it doesn't, it's one of those where like it kind of didn't do much. Not a big gap up or gap down type of situation. Google, been strong. Like we talked about Home Depot. Meta looked weak. Now it's bouncing right back. mRNA, that actually looks kind of, well, they got earnings tomorrow, so we'll see what happens with that. That's actually going to be interesting to see how that does. Microsoft, Netflix, we talked about. Nvidia is technically down on the day, but, weird price action, big lower wick. Target, yeah, look at that. Target's down today. And it's actually, look at that. We were talking about Target as an opportunity for the downside a couple days ago. If it breaks below 162.40, and now that's got a nice move. Now, did it have high volume yesterday? Yeah, it did. So yesterday would have been a good day to initiate the short, and then you, believe it or not, would actually be chilling right now, despite the market going up. And I think you got a good move down to like 155, 156 gap fill. Could be good. That's good. Some good relative weakness there. Same on Walmart, relative weakness there on Walmart, trending to the downside. Kind of cool. If you're looking for shorts, ExxonMobil pulling back. How's oil doing? Oil's down 2.75. Wow. This was a miss. I did not trade this, but I was kind of eyeing it up as a something, but I just didn't really bother. Why? Because when I looked at oil, I was like, okay, you have, volume gap right here. Looked interesting. Just need to set up. So under 80.50 or under 80.60 looked interesting, but then that occurred, I believe, overnight. Last night it happened and then early this morning it broke down, I guess at like 9, 10 a.m. it broke down under this and had a nice move below that. So there was something there, but didn't really set up in a way that I was going to be able to trade that. But either way, oil's breaking down. If this means anything to us, oil has kind of been a leader of the 10-year. So what I would suspect is that this could be an opportunity for a little 10-year shorty if we're going to kind of follow what oil's been doing by a couple of weeks. That's kind of what it seems has been the case, right? Which means 10-year short could mean risk on, time to go. Could also just mean a 10-year short, you know? Like, that's it, instead of trying to fuck around. With risk respected here. Now, I don't know if, I'm not someone to trade that way. I don't trade reversals like that, but it's an idea. Either way, I think it's encouraging signs for a TLT long, you know, or at least a nice dollar cost average, you know, if you're a TLT kind of guy, you know, maybe something. So let's see what else we got. Speaking of TLT, I wonder if I should start buying that guy again. I might be a little TLT guy coming up soon. Okay, BAC, yeah, let's check that out. SMH showing some weakness. Let's check that out. We'll pull up SMH and then BAC. SMH, what's going on, Flippa? We are back in the seat here. You know, I think I may have. Yep. I think I did it. I got a sunburn on my forehead, right where the part of my hat, like the backwards hat thing, like the clip, kind of covers here, and then this is where it was open, exposed, and then it was like red. So I got a sunburn based off that, which I guess the sun was strong today. My sister's back from college, so we hit up a little run in town, and we couldn't keep up with me too fast. No, it was hot though. It was hot. But all right, SMH. That's an interesting doji right there. We have 101 down 101 on the day still. AMD probably a big contributor to that though. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. BAC, I want to say this is going to be looking pretty good. Let's take a look. It's an interesting looking chart because it did just put in technically a higher high here, but now it's pulled back. What I'd want to see is it's a strong stock in a fairly strong sector. Like if you look at XLF financial, it's been fairly strong. Well, lower high there, not amazing, but it's been fairly strong as of late. Back to BAC. Let's see. Yeah, I would want to see it. Yeah, you got some support here at this like 36.75, which it bounced off of perfectly today. You kind of want to see that area holding up as support now. And if not, wouldn't be surprised if we pull back into like 35.75 area. And you still got higher lows though. So overall, the thing looks good. If it can hold this as a higher low, this does look promising. If the market wants to push higher, it does look promising for a bounce. But, you know, it's up 1% today. It's not nothing to sneeze at, but it's not nothing insane. The chart is, you know, just kind of doing its thing, building higher lows. A lot of the banking stuff, like Wells Fargo, I was in last week. These charts have kind of popped and then they've pulled back, and now they may just be kind of setting up for that curl for the next move, building some higher lows. It may be. It's kind of what it seems like. I'm going to get rid of these lines because we are past that. Yeah, oil taking a big dirty dump today. That's for sure. Affirm. AI. Check on Bitcoin in a second here. Curious where that's looking. Yeah, the risk ons look pretty good today. They all look very similar in terms of big, fat, green candles. Snapchat, obviously. Crushing. Snow. SoFi bouncing back. Block with, I think, earnings or some news. All right, let's check out Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was down Yeah, it's still down the day. It bounced down about 4%. It was down a lot more, though, at one point. It was down around the mid 50s, 56.5. Yeah. So what is it? What is it now? What are we talking on Bitcoin now from highs here? We're talking about a 21% pullback. The pullback from highs. Now, the thing with this pullback, though, is that it's been a lot slower. This one was kind of a sharp pull, which is about same thing, about 21.5%. So we kind of hit the same amount of a pullback from the highs that we just put in a few weeks ago on Bitcoin. Well, I guess that was more than a few weeks ago. It was early March, mid of March. So like 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. Like I said, there's a lot of room volume-wise here. So I'm not super surprised. I tried to trade that a while ago, and then it just bounced back up on us. Bitcoin's not been my... it's been good. It was good to me at the beginning of the year, and now it has not. I've been like 3 or 4 in a row, just lost on it. Yeah, it doesn't look... I mean, it doesn't look good. I mean, I'm not like... I'm not going to say, oh, it's a dip buy, because you look at what it's done, right? But at the same time, like, that is an interesting... If we are... Like, a lot of the crypto guys will tell you, in a bull, you're going to have to go through, big pullbacks, as in like 20, 30% pullbacks, corrections, and then it's going to bounce and it's going to go to new highs. And what that does is it kind of trains you to buy the dip. And once it trains you enough to buy the dip, once we top out, which again, we don't know when that's going to happen. It could be already topped out. We could, and then it pulls, and then everyone who buys that dip gets screwed. And then, that's the end of it all. Maybe that's what we have right now. I think it's too early to say. I think it's definitely too early to say, but something to keep in the back of your noggin. Thirsty. Really thirsty today. $50K would be, I wouldn't be super surprised. There's going to be an area right here just above 50K, 51, 52. And then below that, I mean, we could even see, I wouldn't even be surprised if it goes into the 40s. You know what I mean? We'll see, though. Lower highs, but you know how Bitcoin is, right? You got to be careful because this thing can snap in a hurry. So I definitely would not short it right now in the middle of nowhere. If I had, let's see, was there a trade to be had earlier? I don't know. It never really set up in a way for me to trade it. Yeah, I just don't see like a setup for me that fit. Well, I didn't. Not really. I mean, you could kind of said, yeah, generally speaking, under 60K could have been good, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could have said that, like this right here. But if I did that, then I would, let's say, be in at like 59K. Stop loss would be 61K. And then your take profit would be, where would it be? Well, yeah, it's not that bad. A 2-to-1. A 2-to-1 is fair on Bitcoin because Bitcoin moves a lot. Yeah, you're like 55.5, which we got close to. So that's not a bad idea. But I would just be careful because, you never know. Bitcoin's not something that I'm personally am a huge fan of, like, getting too cute on. Bigger picture, I think, is good, but getting too little cute when you miss the entry, it's not worth it to me. Yeah, it's especially when you are not in alignment with with market and stuff. I find like that's just like a big red flag. Like when we don't have like, if the overall market's been kind of trending down and we're like having a decently, weak day, okay, because it still has that connection, because that's not the case right now. Again, same thing. I want to see a lot of things moving in the similar direction, and then I would want to look for inside of that wave of things moving together, where's the relative weakness in that, or relative strength if we're going up, relative weakness if we're going down. And then that's the area that I would be wanting to trade, because you got better bets there. It's moving more, it's relatively weak or strong. If you don't have that, I don't know. But the only not a problem, but you're gonna need, at least for me, I'm gonna need some time for things to set up a bit better, as in like establish upside for a couple of days versus just give you a nice little bounce. Because we got a good bounce, cool, but like that doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme. Because for all you know, here's the thing: for all we know, we could just go overnight, and now SPY's back under 500, and then So I want to see it, build some higher lows and in the coming days and push up if that's what's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, then this could be a good fake out move, and wouldn't surprise if we get a decent downside move here in the coming days if we unravel this entire thing. Like if we today's bounce, if we unravel that and just kind of like slowly start to push down, selling off, could be a really good short. Not that I really trade the trend line like that, but if it breaks that trend line, then we could easily see us down towards a new low on SPY shortly. So we'll see, but that would be hilarious if that happened. Because what happened so far? We got so far, right? It was Fed comes out, doesn't really we assumed was going to happened, and then market pushes up, pulls a little bit, but it never really dives, and then Powell speaks and it just goes up. So far we got really one direction. We haven't really had the first direction being the fake direction. We kind of had the first direction's been right. The first direction has been the direction, but now maybe we unravel that, and now who knows? We'll see. Let's see how this day closes. It could be an interesting close. So that would be hilarious if we unraveled that bad. And then what'll happen will be, looks bad. Then all of a sudden, Apple tomorrow comes out, positive earnings, market goes up, and then you get this back and forth game we've been getting is kind of how it's felt. Tomorrow you've got jobless claims, a couple other little things, Apple in the afternoon, and then you've got unemployment report on Friday. So there's some stuff. Nothing too crazy though, but there's some stuff this week that's still to come. Yeah, looks like we're kind of trying to pull back a bit. Yeah, TLT went up a lot and then it right back down. Start on some of these ETFs. Who's been doing good? Utilities have been crushing it. Yeah, utilities are clearly the strongest. Energy is weak because of oil. Biotechs, man, it's a big ass move. It's crazy. Even ExxonMobil though, pushed above the highs. Could that be the setting up for a reversal here? Maybe, but I don't really like it either. GameStop, remember GameStop? Let's see. It bounced a good bit. Bounced like $1. Actually bounced $2 off the low. Rivian, this is just kind of like, honestly though, it just has that look of a flag. They have earnings coming up next week, but it has that look of a bear flag, right? Just in a heavy trend to the downside, big move down. Here we come, and then wow, obviously that's a question. There's a question behind that, right? There's no way to know because you have earnings, but that's what it looks like it wants to do. If it stays on the same trajectory, that's what we likely will see based off of everything. But then again, earnings is a gamble. There's no way to know, so you wouldn't trade that. It's not like it makes any sense. Yeah, the XBI, man, that looks really good. I mean, from a dip buyer investor perspective, looks like if you were buying into this pullback, yeah, you're feeling pretty good about it. Probably. It's gonna be we're kind of pulling back here. It's gonna be a really interesting looking close if we sell off this entire move. That would be really nasty looking, I guess. But then again, who knows, because it would just be the way that things have kind of gone would be big push up and then finish like right in here, and then like nothing happens overnight and we just like wait around for Apple. Would be hilarious. That's how things have. That's how it's felt, but look at some more headlines. I'm not sure if we will forecast inflation to come down and sustainably below 3%. Unlikely that we'll get 3 cuts. Base case seems like 1 rate cut this year. Interesting. So what's weak? End phase looks like shit. That looks really weak. That does not look good. Right? Big pop and then immediately right back down. That would be, if there's a candidate for a short, that would be one. My opinion. Let's see. Is it good though? Like daily chart wise? They had earnings. Yeah, you just, the problem is you get this big wick. I liked it under this level that we're kind of sitting at right now. So I do like that idea. But you do have this massive wick right here, which kind of sketches me out. But my target would probably be down towards $100. So, what would the target would be if you entered it? Yeah. Maybe it's not the best risk reward. You have to play it tight. 110 stop, target 100, enter at 106, maybe something like that. So you're making 6 to risking 4, which is not great. It's not great. It's not ideal. It's not perfect by any means. Powell pumped, and now we dump. Yeah, we'll see though. It doesn't look good. If this is how we close, my 2 cents says short for tomorrow. But then again, got to make something with the setup. Now, this is a trader. This would be valid in my opinion. Here, you're getting good action. Now the problem is you obviously just came from all the way up here without really any pullbacks. I would want to see a consolidation then a break. But this does not look good. That's one example. Let's see what else we can find. What else is weak? Nvidia is weak as hell, down 3%. It was down much more though. So Target, we were talking about Target, right? How like a half hour ago or 20 minutes ago. This is weak on the day. Very weak now, putting in a new low of the day. ExxonMobil, same thing. Is oil really weak right now? It's pulling a bit. Man, this is gonna be funny if we close like this. Because usually once Powell stops speaking, it's kind of like, okay, market's figured itself out, and then maybe it just chops around until the close or trends that direction. But you got he stopped speaking, and you've got now a complete unwind of what's going on. So see how that stays. Look at that Bitcoin move. Holy shit. Yeah. I guess they're no, yeah, they're that would be, but like it's just a wonky chart. That's a level that we can watch as a breakdown underneath 56.5, but I mean it just popped to here and then it's kind of wonky. Yeah, these charts are gonna look really weird. These charts look really weird. They look weird already. They're gonna look even weirder if this is how we close. But yeah, the AMD would be the one that would be kind of interesting to me. Let's see what else is here. IBM is weak, but not momentum. No momentum on that. CRM, another one that's interesting, but bounced too hard though. Bounced too hard. And then BlackRock could be something of interest under like 745 or so. Nothing that's like screaming though, anything to me. Nothing that's screaming, holy shit, look over here. VIX down decently, but now it's probably perking a little bit off of where it was. VIX daily. Yeah, that does not look promising. As in, like, this could be interesting if it rolls over, which would probably signal the next leg up on the market to new all-time highs. If this trend line doesn't hold, eventually. Now, it's bouncing right now at the level, but if the trend line doesn't hold eventually, then that's something to be paying attention to. Cannabis going nuts. Dude, that's crazy. 0 day SPY trade. Yeah. 0 DDEs are going wild today. It feels like we haven't had, good action for them, to be honest, like this. And when I say good action, I mean the moves, you get great moves, as in yesterday and the day prior. But when you get moves like this, I mean, you can have contracts that freaking go hundreds of % in like less than 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what they are all about over there. If you play 0 days, 0 days, to be honest, from my view, like there's some good strategy to be built around them. You just have to. It's just a different world, though. You got to play like. You're probably going to you got to accept the fact that your win rate's going to be sub 50% and probably well under, maybe 40 or even under 40%, maybe even below that. But your winners could be huge and your losers could be, whatever. They're, max loss could be whatever you risk on the contract. But when you win, they could be big. Very big. BTC, let's see. I don't see anything until like 52K. Like this area of consolidation will be an interesting spot. So that's like around 52K. That's the spot. And then below that, it gets really interesting. I think there's room down to like the mid 40s, 44, 45K. But the thing that I would be concerned though about is like, there's the nature of Bitcoin and how this thing can move. So we have pulled back now over 20% from the all-time high, or the high that was made back in March. Not that really matters, but I guess if you go back to the last bull market, let's just go back and see. How big were some of these pullbacks? Let's see. So you have this guy, which was 21%. Funny how that's very similar to today. This one was more, 30%. This one was 25%. So there were a lot of 20, 25, 30% pullbacks. And so that's kind of what's a little bit like, if the bull's not over, then you're kind of in territory right now where like it could get a little wonky. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best short. So, but you do have some lower highs. So, you can't deny that. You do have some lower highs that have been put in. So the trend is down and you're breaking lows. So the trend is down on Bitcoin, but I'm just a little sketched by it. I'm not sold on that just yet. Again, my view is to stay away, but like my view of that in in a non-technical manner has been, even the market too, for me to be like, we've done what we want to see happen. I would want to see like mass euphoria, and we have not had that. As in, like, we haven't had small caps going nuts. We have had some decent runs in cryptos, but you haven't had the craziness. Like, Ethereum hasn't even hit all-time highs. Bitcoin barely hit all-time highs. Like, you haven't had a crazy run where everybody seems like they're all in. And so I want to see personally that before I would be like, okay, now we've gotten that. People have gotten, all in almost. Now we have lower highs. Now we're breaking down. Now this is like, okay. Because I have that like slight bias, and because the charts don't match with the bias, and which is maybe not good to have a bias, I'm just not going to do anything. And versus like in the past, maybe I would do something. I'm not going to bother to touch it. But I mean, it doesn't look good. Don't get me wrong. But my concern is that we have yet to have that euphoria. So it wouldn't surprise me for a dip to get caught up here at some point, and then us to slingshot into the new highs. It wouldn't surprise me. And then when that happens, does that slingshot to new highs bring in that euphoria? We'll be gauging sentiment and get a good feel. If that's the case, that's kind of a good thing. And then we start pulling back from there. Okay, now I would feel more comfortable in the short side. All right, let's see fear and greed here today. We're trying to get back to neutral. Bitcoin, fear, and greed. Let's see. I haven't looked at these two too closely, so I don't know if this is a good site. It says we're at neutral right now. Okay. Short pins. How does pins look? Oh shit. Must have had obviously had good earnings. Haven't pulled the trigger on the alts yet. Yeah. Short TQs or buy SQs. I would prefer to honestly short the TQs if I was going to do that, because of the decay factor. Especially if you're playing options, but if you're playing just shares, probably would still short the TQs if I had to. If I had to pick a side. NASDAQ, by the way, just went red, I think. QQQ is borderline flat on the day. Yeah, not a good look on that end of day. The only problem though that I have with that is like, well, yes, it's not a good look at the end of the day. Let's go to QQQ. It's not like we went up and then we're like way down here, like closing so weak. We're going to close still above where we opened, or roughly where we were kind of above the range of the day. So it's not like that. All that really happened was kind of like a nothing burger, right? We did move up and then we came right back down, and we're going to close as if Powell never happened, So it's not like that's super juicy in my opinion. The trade though on end phase could certainly, yep, that is certainly that's a very valid play. I like that. You gotta get a little more, but I do like the level we're at on end phase for a short, and you've got lower highs. So I kind of like that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would say too with I from what I have, how I've felt inside of being inside trades, I prefer shorting, because I just think moves, for the way I do things, they move cleaner when on the short side. But so I prefer that, but also they've been super sketchy. They have not been working that well. They really haven't. No, they don't have end phase in here. But end phase could be playable. Powell. It's good though. Good action. This end phase, man. This does look fucking. Oh, if that would be my favorite short right now. Although it is a little wonky, and I can't trade it on the prop for him, so it is what it is. But I think there's good room down into the under $100 kind of area. That's again if we do confirm weakness. Now the thing is, the market is doing exactly what you would not want to see it do. If you were like, oh my god, I'm loving the move up, we're going up and Powell's great, it's completely unwound that entire thing. The problem is that we're now going to probably close the day pretty much where we opened it, because there's only 7 minutes left in the day. So like it's essentially as if nothing happened. Now you can interpret that a couple ways. Nothing happened, or we were going to go up, huge move up, all unwound, momentum pressured to the downside, time to short, let's fucking go. Like there's kind of two sides to that. And I'm kind of in between, because I want to get on the train of like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But the way things have been, for all we know, we gap up 1% tomorrow. And then it's like, oh, cool. No consistency. Great. That's how it's been. So it's like, you got to prove to me that there's something, because it's been this way. But the end phase play could be something to watch. I think it's something I'll pay attention to. And yeah, how's the 10-year? The 10-year is probably, well, it was down. No, it's coming back pretty aggressively. Thing though, I would be paying attention to on the 10-year though is this oil, because oil has put in a nice lower high and now breaking down nicely. So you are breaking this uptrend. Can we draw a line there? Is there a line to be had? Let's see. Not perfectly, but like kind of something there. Yeah, you are breaking the uptrend on that. And what we've been noticing is that the 10-year seemingly has been a couple of weeks behind oil in the way that it's kind of been reacting, roughly, not perfect. And it makes sense, right? Because oil going up, more pressure on inflation. If oil comes down, that's going to be good on CPI numbers and stuff. But it needs to probably come down a lot. Like we got to go under $70 for us to be like, okay, this is big. So we'll see. But if you're going off that, this could have been an opportunity, or could be an opportunity if you're looking at oil as your leading indicator for the 10-year. Say, maybe I want to go short the 10-year or long TLT, or maybe it's a time to dollar cost average in. Maybe if that's and again, that doesn't mean that it has to work like that. But if that's your indicator. So SPY does not look like don't look like she's going to be closing very beautifully, right? Here's the daily chart. That would be not great underneath 500. You would think, but then you have Apple earnings tomorrow. By the way, QQQ just was just flat like 5 minutes ago. This one candle right here just dropped us like 0.5%. That's crazy. Technically, it was like a little bit of a bear flag in there, but in this tiny context, yes. But then you have to bring it to this context, which is like not really very interesting. But it worked technically. It worked. SMH down a lot because I guess AMD is probably weak and all those guys are falling off. Quite the nasty close. Yes, it does not look good. So if I had to get, if I was forced gun to my head, I would short end phase. I would go to bed. I would short end phase right now, and I would close my screen and say, based off what I see, that looks like the best bet. So, well, I guess you can short the NASDAQ or the S&P too, I guess. But if you really, but like that end phase chart looks a little more appealing to me. Qs overall daily doesn't really, but I think that maybe there's room down to 410 on the Qs. Maybe we get there tomorrow or by Friday. Hey, I'm not opposed. I prefer the short side. I really do. But it's just, again, the moves have not been clean on the short side. So that's why I'm like sketched out. Oh, there goes IBM. That looks like a good close there on IBM. If you want to play, well, that would be another one as well. Yeah, I would say that that's your next best bet, or at least my next best bet. Only problem I would have on IBM short would be that you are pulling up into this consolidation area right here. So if IBM was under 160, hell yeah, but it's not. So it's like not super attractive to me. BlackRock could be an amazing short under 745. That could be really good. I like that a lot. Down towards like 700. Like we're talking a massive friggin' move there. So watching that one, I have an alert set on it. They had earnings a couple weeks back, so you don't have to worry about earnings on them. And yeah, there's some small gaps to fill. There's room on that one. I like that one a lot for a short, potentially if it breaks the lows there. Yeah, but it's not a bad thing to that's how it's been, right? It keeps switching up on us, and it's like you got to scratch your head. But the thing is, when you see that, it's like, guess what? Don't got to do shit. You don't have to do anything. So you make it as hard as you want on yourself, I think, in this game. Times like this, you look at this, I could look at this week and this is kind of how I'm viewing it going forward, is like outside of day trades right now, which I don't really enjoy those anyway. I much prefer a bigger picture. These earnings weeks, and you throw in a FOMC inside of an earnings week, it's a good week to be like, yeah, I'm gonna check in, but I'm not gonna be here. Like I'm not gonna bother very much. Very easy to lose a lot of money for what, Optimism, and now they're like, yeah, never mind. Hey, you never know though. But the thing is, like, there's something that we don't really know. You kind of know if you go to the FOMC projection chart, whatever the hell, you kind of know, like, okay, that's already done. The June meeting, I mean, there's, holy shit, let me pop off the screen here. In the June meeting, there's actually now a 0.6% chance that we're going to get a hike. Oh, you got to love it. July, we're kind of back and forth here right now. Believe it or not, yeah, that projection's been even higher. Keeps going up. Yeah. The July, we're kind of like almost a split on maybe a cut by July. Oh, sorry, that's September. My bad. That's September. My bad. July is here. July, very, very good chance that we're going to keep where they are. September, kind of maybe. And then it's November that they're pricing in. By November, probably a cut. And then if not, then by December. And that's as of now. That's as of right now. You never know. I mean, that's the way things have been going. For at this pace, we could be like, yeah, December. And then, oh, maybe January. Oh, actually, March of 2025. That's crazy. It's like a year. That's like a year. We could be talking about the first cut coming like a year after we maybe thought, back in the day. Ain't cutting this year. What if they hike? What if they throw down a hike instead of a cut this year? What if that's what happens next? Who knows when, right? But let's say the next move by the Fed is actually a hike instead of a cut. That would be fucking nuts. All right, so best looking trade or chart, end phase, in my opinion, to the downside. And that's it. I don't like anything really other than that. And especially with up and down, wicks, this and that, I don't really like what I see. We'll see what happens overnight. You have Apple earnings tomorrow. The looks don't look amazing. The Dow could be in play for a possible short underneath here. I'm going to put an alert on that just so I watch it. Crossing down if maybe we get something there. But other than that, there really is not a lot that's super interesting. There was an IBM idea, but we talked about that and just, I don't know, a little sketchy with this consolidation. I want to see it under 160, so it's got a ways to go. And then that's a big move, and then you're talking, so it becomes I guess I'm not going to bother and leave it alone. Bitcoin does not look good either. Big breakdown. Gold and silver with some pops today, but also selling right back off. I would not be surprised. I'm going to have an alert on this, I think. I didn't put it on there yet. I'm going to put one on there. On silver. Because I think I want to trade that. I potentially would want to be interested in that, just because that's where the money's been this past couple weeks, man. For me, it's like I've just been better on gold and silver instead of playing freaking stocks. They've just been chopping me up left and right. Oil kind of looks like it's setting up as a bear flag breakdown, but it's down a lot, so I wouldn't trade that and let it do its thing. But maybe that's a signal for the 10-year, but also, yeah, maybe. Maybe. If oil's a couple of weeks ahead of the 10-year, maybe you get a pullback on the 10-year soon. We'll see. Down 1.2 on the day on the 10-year. The dollar was down. Dollar, man, looks like it wants to snap up. If the dollar breaks up, then that looks good for those shorts on maybe silver or gold or something like that. Something to be paying attention to. That's where my head's at. I think Bitcoin, silver, and gold potentially the best looking short, opportunities coming up that could be setting up for me. Otherwise, we'll see what happens tomorrow. It could be an interesting day. We'll be back. I'll be back for a stream per power hour. No haircut till the Fed cuts. No. Now, I am trying to grow it out, not going to lie, but I don't think I can do that. But yeah, I'll be back. We'll be back for a stream tomorrow afternoon, and then tomorrow afternoon, we'll have Apple earnings as well, so that'll be fun. But enjoy your Wednesday. See you tomorrow.